You ready, Cheryl? Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the March 13th Planning and Zoning meeting. Our first order of business this morning is to review the minutes from last month's meeting, and I would trust that the commissioners have had an opportunity to review those. Do you have any additions or corrections to said minutes?
No, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Smith seconds it. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And would the secretary please note that the chairman abstained as I was not here last month. Thank you. Barry, our first order of business tonight is Mr. Robert Carlson.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to petition two items onto the end of the agenda, real quick items. That would be the approval of the final plat for Hart Place Pond and Shellquist addition.
All right, we need a motion for that?
No,
Okay, very well. All right, first order of business is Mr. Robert Carlson. Barry, could you give us a rundown on what we have going? And
yep, I gotta get back to the proper screen here, so just one moment. Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item was continued from the previous meeting as the applicants couldn't attend. It's a rezoning of a parcel in Monticello Township from from ag to AR and part S2 shoreland overlay. The property is currently in the plan for rural residential, zoned agricultural, as mentioned. They do have a concept plan that if rezoning is approved, it would end up with a two-lot subdivision with a roughly 14-acre parcel on the north and a 41-acre parcel on the south. We did receive approval from the township, and there is one neighbor response in your packet opposing the request.
all right, Mr. Carlson, would you please step up to the podium, please, and state your name and address for the secretary, please?
Robert Carlson, 1030 94th Street Northwest, Monticello.
Very well. Do you have anything else to expand upon Mr. Reinberger's recap?
No, Barry did a good job. That's exactly what we plan on doing.
Okay, very well. Do the board members have any questions for Mr. Carlson at this time? All right, then we'll take it to the public. Is there anyone here in the audience who would like to speak about this issue? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this issue, please? Well, seeing none, we'll bring it right back up here to the board. Any questions from my fellow commissioners?
Mr. Chair, as far as the rezoning request, I don't have any questions for that. It's well within the land use plan that they have decided for this township, so I have no concerns there. As far as rezoning, anything with platting we can deal with at that point.
I myself have a question, Mr. Carlson. Each property will have not a shared driveway, but a separate driveway. Is that kind of what your plan is?
That would be our plan, I guess, yes.
Okay.
Currently, it's owned by four people, the entire property. So we're going to maintain ownership of Tract A, and then the remaining three members would do whatever they choose with the remnant tract.
I see.
Yep.
Okay, very well. Is there any questions that we would like to ask Mr. Carlson, or could we entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the County Board of Commissioners to rezone PID 213-10007-2300 from Ag General Agriculture and Part S2 Residential Recreation Shoreland to AR Agriculture Residential and Part S2 residential recreation shoreland because it finds the property is aligned with the goals and policies of the Northwest Quadrant Land Use Plan.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Very well, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you.
The next step of this will be, we'll place it on the county board agenda at the next available meeting. And then, once the county board approves, then you can reapply for the unplatted subdivision. So, Josh will let you know when that gets approved and when you can apply.
Thank you, Barry. Number 2 on the list, Aaron Haho. Haho? Will you please state your name and address for the secretary?
Aaron Haho, 2895 County Road 4 Southwest, Cokato, Minnesota.
Very good, thank you. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this one was continued from the last meeting to get some revisions to the plat to include the drainage and utility easements along the property lines as well as along the drainage area from the culvert back to the west side of Lot 1. That has been provided and is in your packet. Otherwise, I have nothing further. That was the reason for the continuance.
All right. Mr. Haho, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Very well. At this point in time, I'd like to take it to the public. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this issue? Anyone in the public who would like to speak? Very well, we'll bring it right back up here. Commissioners, what did you wish?
Since everybody's looking at me, I can probably comment first.
I think that'd be good.
We've spent a lot of time in this area dealing with water problems, and I'm actually pleased, and hopefully, Aaron, you understand why I'm pleased that we have an easement into the area if we need to get in there, because in the large event rains, it's been a problem. Hopefully, in the future, we've got Dan Nadeau from Wright County Soil and Water working with, and you were at that meeting we had with them this year, working with DNR to get the downstream problem fixed on their property so that this is gonna be a freer flow of water going through there, not backing up across the road and taking a lot of silt and sediment with it. Now, a lot of the water coming out of this field, it's a huge watershed. When you go back to the east, there's a 120 acre, I think it's 200 acre field that used to be a watershed for this area, and it still is, but it used to run a lot of silt and sediment through there. I don't know if it was maybe 8-9 years ago, Soil and Water had gone on the north side of the campground and put in some mitigating rock to take care of a lot of the silt and sediment in that area, so we don't have as much of that going into the lake as we used to. So that part, the water still comes, but the silt is a lot better. But hopefully we can get this worked out this year, and the DNR would be able to fund their portion of it to take care of a lot of the water problems we've had in that area. And if that's being done, I think it's gonna be limited as to where they can build on that lot, but at least they will have a better area to work with the understanding that whoever owns that lot cannot do any work in the right-of-way to impede the water flow. And that's important to us. The township has approved it, and we know Aaron, we think that he's gonna make sure that happens, so.
So the right-of-way has been established.
Yeah, it's on that diagram that's up right now. If you look on the top of the diagram, that follow Barry's arrow, or,
Yep, for that portion that's directly affected by this drainage, it comes from the corner of the easement where the culvert is, angles, and then it's 30 feet in between there and the township road right-of-way, and then 30 feet all the way to the back. maintains that 30 feet to this back area, which there's already an easement here, but it also, so there's kind of a dual easement in this area because of some other things, and that's where the outlet is gonna be, is right in here. So the entire course of that drainage is covered within this easement. Plus a little bit on either side. So if you have to go in there and put a little dirt on one side, you're not dumping it outside of the easement.
Okay.
Anything further up here? All right, then perhaps a motion is in order.
Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve a conditional use permit for a two-lot platted subdivision in accord with the record. These hearings and the preliminary plat of ANH Estates completed by Meyer Rowland, file number 24164, revisions dated 2/18/25. With the following conditions: number one, prior to filing the final plat, the park dedication shall be paid in cash along with other fees as noted on the plat checklist. Extent of the drainage and utility easements must be provided to and approved by the zoning administrator, and C, a title opinion is submitted and accepted by the county attorney. Number two, no construction may commence until the county board has approved the final plat. Number three, access permits, if required, must be obtained from the Wright County Highway Department prior to the issuance of a building permit. And four, livestock is prohibited except as allowed by the Wright County Court of Ordinances.
I'll second that.
Very well, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One thing quick, Mr. Chairman, I would like to strike B under condition 1, which is the approval by the administrator for the drainage and utility. That has actually already been provided and is on the plat, so it's not needed. That would move 1C to 1B.
All right, okay with you, Dan?
That's okay with my motion?
Me too.
Very well, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the slightly amended motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Best of wishes, Mr. Howell.
Thank you.
Our third item tonight is Melissa Lemire Dragovich. Could you please state your name and address for the secretary?
Sure. I'm Melissa Lemire Dragovich. Address is 17169 40th Street, Southwest, Cokato, Minnesota, 55321.
Thank you. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this property, it's 19.2 acres and has an existing kennel that was approved in 2012. This request is convert that conditional use permit into an interim use permit in line with current regulations that kennels are now interim, not conditional. And then also is, part of the request is to expand that existing operation to include training and dog event space that includes a fenced-in outdoor area, a training barn, and a dock and pool area. Associated with that will be a number of events and that occur in addition, trainings that would occur throughout the week. The business plan that has been submitted for this is in your packet. The existing barn that they intend to use is 40 by 40. It will need to go through a change of use permit for public occupation, which if approved, there's conditions that are being suggested to take care of that. And as well as the days and hours of operation are also listed in that narrative. The parking for the events and the trainings have been delineated on a parking plan that has been submitted and provided to you. The township has reviewed this and approved 15 events per year with a limit of 25 cars in Spot A. That's noted on that parking plan, and we did not get any other comments on this request. Suppose I should have showed you the aerials. They're there.
No. I didn't hear you.
I said, I suppose I should have showed you the aerials as I was going through it. So I just showed it to you. There you go, now you have it. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I believe I went through that one fairly quickly, which I'll try to slow down on the next one.
Thank you, I'd appreciate that. Anything else to add, ma'am?
Not really, unless you have specific questions. We just want to train dogs.
So any questions of the lady? All right, now I will, at this point in time, take it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this issue? Anyone in the public? Well, hearing none, we'll bring it right back up here, I guess. Any questions of the kind lady?
I guess only one question. Have you in the past had neighbors complain about barking dogs or?
We've never had anything.
Oh,
Yep, yep, it's been great, so.
awesome.
We do have a strict 2-minute barking rule for our events as well, so we don't want to listen to dogs bark either.
Barry, has your office received any complaints on this particular operation?
Not for barking, no.
All right. And they've been in operation since 2012, was it?
The kennel portion, so this is an after-the-fact permit, so, as you can see in the aerial, the pool and the dock areas for the dock jumping stuff has been in place, so there's, from the staff standpoint, there's obviously been some activities taking place that weren't part of the original permit, and that's kind of how this started. It started with notification that it looks like it's operating outside of the conditional use permit. My staff reached out, and the applicant has been working with my staff on getting it all up to date for the operations that they have been and intend to continue to run.
When we originally did this in 2012, we ran a rescue. We don't do that anymore, so, yeah.
Well, I know in the past, there are fellow commissioners that we've made it a practice to visit the site. I can't quite recall if those are essentially new applications or expansion of existing. So if there's any thought of having a site visit, I'm open to hear that.
And Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, it's hit or miss. It all depends specifically on the request. So we have some we've went out to, when we get expansions, we've been out to some, we haven't been out to others. So it's a fairly even mix. So it's completely up to the commission's discretion how you want to do that.
Any thoughts, fellow commissioners?
You guys did come out in 2012, so you were out there at that time as well, so.
All right.
I was there.
If you were there, I was there.
No, I was there as a township
Okay,
representative.
never mind.
I don't.
You're welcome to come out anytime you'd like.
Yeah, obviously, I see this quite often, so I'm well aware of what the property is, but you folks may not, so it would be totally up to you.
All right. What would you like to do, commissioners?
I'm all for approving it, but I don't have the wordage for it. Huh? I said I'm all for it, except for I don't know the verbiage for it. Where did you get this?
Out of the staff notes.
I put a separate text-only version in your folder.
Oh, in my folder. Okay. So this long one?
Sometimes I'm kind of thorough. No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the conversion of the existing conditional use permit for a kennel granted in 2012 into an interim use permit and expand the existing kennel to allow operating a dog training and dog event space that includes a fenced-in outdoor area, a training barn, and a dock and pool area in accordance with the discussion, plans, and description held on file with the following conditions. Proper building and septic system permits are obtained, inspections conducted, and a certificate of occupancy received for the remodel of the existing pole building prior to the public entering the structure. No more than 15 events per calendar year. Classes are limited to no more than 3 nights per week from the hours of 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. No more than 25 cars per event, with parking following the plans presented. Parking is prohibited on public roads and right-of-ways at any time. Portable toilets must be provided according to the letter from the Wright County Environmental Health Officer. The use of amplified sound or public address system is prohibited. Township to review in 1 year with subsequent reviews at an interval established by the township. All conditions regarding the boarding operation listed in document A1236100 remain in full force and effect. Any change or expansion of the use or facility, including participant numbers stated herein, requires a new interim use permit hearing. This permit shall expire upon transfer of the property, termination of any lease agreement, or change in business ownership or operations.
All right, there is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Very well, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Is there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, and
Thank you.
best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Our fourth item tonight is Garvin Farms LLC. And could you all simply, whoever is going to speak, state your name and address, please?
Yes, sir. Hello, board members. I'm Steve Garvin, and the address is 2628 50th Street Northeast, here in Buffalo, 55313.
Very well.
Thank you for hearing our petition.
Yeah, and we'll go to Barry just for a recap here first, please.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this property is 43.74 acres. As noted, it's along 50th Street Northeast in Buffalo Township. Let's see if I got it's an existing orchard without any actual public participation. That's why the commercial ag tourism is partially being requested. This request is for you pick apples and flowers. The 16 by 22 farm shop, which would include retail space, farm-to-table food prep and dining, and a reservation-only workshop and events portion. That's all included as part of this commercial ag tourism. The property is in the long-range plan for agricultural residential, and is currently zoned rural, agricultural residential. It's in the plan for rural residential. And it is S2 because it does have shoreland along Gilchrist Lake. The narrative for the business has been included in your packet. It is fairly lengthy, so I'm not going to go through every piece of it, but as noted, there's going to be a farm shop with retail space that would include sale of apples and other local apple and farm-related products, typically seen at any orchard that we have around the county. The farm-to-table food prep would include potentially a food trailer, a licensed food trailer, not actually something that's inside one of the existing buildings, as well as the dining. At this point in time, there's no request to include dining inside of a building. It would all be exterior. There is no necessarily a direct reference to possible tents, but that might be something that the commission, if you are looking at approval, might include conditions that tents might be allowable. As noted, you pick apples and you pick flowers. Most of those, as well as the events, would be on some type of calendar by appointment type of thing to prevent overcrowding. There has been a parking plan submitted, which we do have. There is some statements in our parking ordinance that require fencing or some type of screening where properties abut residential zones. So in this case, where this parking is being proposed, The applicants have provided some photos to show the topography of that area, that it's kind of downhill and lower than the residential property across the highway. So there is residential property that abuts this property, and according to the ordinance, there's screening and fencing requirements in those areas. But they did reference that by topography, that what's across the road is definitely uphill, and vehicles are parked more on a downhill angle into more the kind of the ditch area of shy of the right-of-way for the highway. We also have the site plan where the U-pick flowers and U-pick apples are, as well as, you can see they've also included the picnic area and the parking and where that existing farm shop is. That building is a newer build, and the applicants are working with our building official to get plans for that conversion to allow the public into the building. So we did not receive any response from the township at this point. So there again, I believe you guys had went there, but we don't have anything. We reached out to the township today and haven't gotten a response.
So Ann Newman gave me the approval, and I handed it back to Mark Hoffman, and he said that he was going to get it to you. So they did approve it. So I know you can't take my word for it, but I know Mark, Ann actually handed it to me, and I asked when I was leaving, and Mark said, no, I need it. So I gave it back to Mark, and he said that he would get it to you. So I was assuming that they would maybe scan it and email it to you, but it was approved on Monday.
Yeah, I don't have it, Mr. Chairman. We have not received it. I'm not saying it didn't take place. All I'm saying is we don't have it in our file. I don't have any emails, and I talked to my staff that receives most of those, and he hasn't received it either. And he reached out, didn't hear back. So.
All right, very well. Would you care to add anything to Mr. Barry's narrative?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I just want to emphasize that we do not want to be a large-scale apple destination like some of the other orchards around us. We really want to keep it more of a personalized, intimate reservation only, so that we know what it's going to look like on a weekend if we get 30 or 40 people that want to come. Primarily for special events. It's not, there is a place for the Apple Jacks and the fall harvest of this world, but that's not what we want to be, nor do we want all that headache, I guess I would call it. So it's going to be a very small, intimate opportunity to come and pick flowers or pick apples, and it's going to be reservation only. We've had some experience doing that last summer, and that's kind of why we're here, because we figured we better get it straight. So my son has been doing that, and he's been doing a good job of keeping it to 30 to 40 people, maybe 50. On a special event or dinner, we might get more than that, but I think that's kind of what we're targeting for. The narrative says up to 100 people, but we haven't done that yet, so we don't know if that would be the number that we would use.
Would you foresee any traffic concerns?
We went to speak with Sarah Bowerman at the Highway Department to ask her that, and she has looked at it and told us that she had no concerns with parking so long as no one parks on 113, which will not happen. We'll definitely have signs that say, do not park on County Road 113. She also said that she saw no need for a turn lane, anything along those lines.
Any further questions from up here?
Not at this point.
Are we concerned we do not have Buffalo Township's?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think we should see the comment from Buffalo Township for this item.
Do you have it?
Grant just is calling Mark Hoffman right now.
Okay, so we're on the phone trying to get a hold of Mark Hoffman right now.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to put us on hold for a little bit until we hear from him.
Public hearing. No, let's do the public hearing.
That's right, we have to do that. We have to bring this to the public, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to comment on this issue?
Oh, we have a gentleman. State your name.
My name is Richard Brown. I live adjacent to the orchard, directly to the west. And I have two questions that I think I know the answer to and a comment. So the first question is, does this CUP go with the owners or the property?
It goes with the owners and as long as they don't change certain aspects of it, sell, lose a lease or something of that nature.
Okay.
It's no longer a conditional use permit, it's an interim conditional use permit. So it's done on an interim basis. So it's granted or not granted. Let's say it's granted for the period of time that it operates under these conditions. Any changes, major changes to those, and it's done with.
Okay, I thought I knew the answer, but I just wanted to make sure and get it on the public record. So the second, that pretty much answers the first one. My comment is that I was going through the expanded proposal and looking at the parking. I'm thinking whoever drew that up was very optimistic on how many cars they could squeeze in that area. And I was confused by the numbers here, where it says 800 feet, 600 feet. There's something not right with those numbers.
I can attest to that.
Barry, do you know what those dimensions
Give your name.
on there?
Hi, my name is Grant Garvin. I'm with Gilchrist Garvin Farms. So I just use Google Maps, and the footage is just it's added up around the border. So the starting point will go, so it's the added total of the points.
Lineal, it's a lineal footage added up.
So
from the
this
starting point.
800 feet?
The dashes are 20 feet.
Okay, but this 800 feet goes from where to where? That's what confused me.
It's the square footage,
It would
kind
be-
of linear around.
Yeah, it would be from the starting point is the way it looks. So if your starting point, if you look at the monitor, I have my cursor on it. You can see I'm moving it around in a circle. So right on the monitor, you should see it. So right here, so from this starting point, it goes from here to here to here to here, down to here, across. That's 400 feet. So it's adding it up as you go from from dot to dot. It's just doing an add. So from this dot to this dot to this dot is an additional 200 feet. So it goes from 400 to 600.
Okay,
So
and
that's
not
what
being
it's
an
doing.
engineer, this is really confusing.
So we did provide the Garvins with the parking parameters. So our ordinance lists out, you need parking spaces that are so wide, so deep, with so much for aisles for turn and getting in and out of spots. And this was done in accordance with that plan, or with those specifications.
That's good to know.
Okay, so this was just done off Google Maps or something, rather than an on-site look-see.
Yes, it's done using aerial photography.
Okay. I would stand by my comment that that's overly optimistic that you could get that many cars in that space. But we can certainly disagree on that.
Oh, right, and so ultimately, this isn't gonna be, or it's not proposed to be a paved space with, lined parking. And so the space and where cars can go is defined by this plan. Whether or not they can actually fit that many cars and whether or not they can have that many people on the site is gonna be based upon the final number of cars. So if people in here mispark, their limitation is based on this area, period. And so
And I can let this go. This was just sort of a side that I saw tonight when I first looked at the expanded plan. So my last question is, the Garvins were very specific and very detailed in the numbers of people that they were going to have at different events. You know, we don't always like to, but we should always think about the future. If they decide that, whoa, this just isn't working, we need to make this bigger. Are they held to their numbers in their narrative, or can they decide to change those at some point?
Any substantial change in the interim use permit would require the individual to come back and reapply for any expansion.
Okay, so their narrative is part of whatever conditions you folks decide.
Today, yes.
All right, thank you. That answers my question.
Could you please state your name and address, please?
Yes, Grant Garvin, Gilchrist Orchard, 2628 50th Street Northeast.
Thank you.
I do have Mark Hoffman on the phone from Buffalo Township for the approval.
He needs to email us that response. We can't take verbal over the phone at a public meeting. He'll have to email that to me.
Okay. Yeah. And then, and then I'd like to touch on the parking. So we were just told to give a parking plan, and that is, you know, kind of the max, and we just wanted to show.
Okay, excuse me just a moment, Mr. Garvin. If the gentleman could either step outside or you're done?
I'm done. I don't think he's.
Okay, very well, thank you. And sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no problem. So we were just told to give a parking plan, and we just wanted to just kind of show like we have sufficient parking for the what's in the narrative and our numbers compared to that. So,
Okay,
just for that. So, thank you.
sure. All right, we've gone to the public. Anything else? Would you like to add anything else, sir?
No, sir, I think we've got everything in front of you guys, and I'm just disappointed that we don't have the paperwork from the township.
Right, well, we are too, because it looks as though we'll have to continue it until next month's meeting, until we receive those comments from the township in proper format.
Can I ask you one thing? If Mark is able to email them to Barry tonight before the end of this meeting, would that be sufficient?
Well, I would think it would be, in my personal view, I would think that would be acceptable. We can push you back to the end of the agenda and take care of it then. Barry, did you have any concern or?
No, that would be if that's what the commission's wishes are, that would be the appropriate protocol would be to hold it over to the end of the agenda.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I do have a suggestion after you close public comment. So when we're up on the board here, I would like to discuss that before we do anything further.
I believe we're done with the public input, and there's no one who wished to speak, so go ahead, Dan.
Mr. Chair, it's typical when we do agritourism events that are new, that we do a site inspection, and I think that would alleviate a lot of the problems if we set up a site inspection to go look at it, and by that next meeting, then the township will have the response to us.
I agree with Dan.
That sounds reasonable to me as well.
And I'll make that a motion.
I'll second that.
You understand what's going on, Mr. Gavin?
I do.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this?
Just note, Mr. Chairman, that meeting would be April 10th, 2025. The date of the site inspection to be established at the end of the meeting.
All right. And that next board meeting is when? April
10th.
10th. Okay, very well. Any further discussions? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. All right. So,
Thank you.
thank you. And if you wish to hang around to find out when that site inspection is, you're welcome to do that, or simply call the office in the morning.
Just give Josh a call. He's in about 8:30.
I'll call Mark and see why.
Yeah.
I don't know why he did it.
All right. Our next item on the agenda, number 5, Martin Weber. Please state your name and address for the secretary.
Scott Gillen, 2518 59th Street Northeast. I'm the land surveyor and representing the Webbers on this.
Thank you, Mr. Gillen. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this matter is essentially a two-part request. Part one is conditional use permit for a land alteration of approximately 475 yards of fill to cross floodplain to allow driveway access for a possible home site. The second part would be that prospective two-lot unplatted subdivision. So this particular property is 28.86 acres on County Road 14 in Franklin Township. It has been before the commission for a rezoning and a subdivision. So in this particular case, the lot ending in 3308, 3307, and 3306 were all part of an unplatted subdivision in the AR district that was done in 2022. This request is to, as mentioned, bring a driveway access in on the northern part of the property, north of this cutout home site. 475 yards to fill to cross this. It is floodplain. Fill in a floodplain requires a conditional use permit. That's why it's before us. The previous approval, the access location for the southern part is south of that little lot of record that's cut out. If the commission recalls, I believe there was even a second hearing here or it was during the original subdivision hearing where the original home site was located south of that drainage area, and they had requested to also have an optional home site north. So we do have soil borings both north and south of this wetland for two prospective home sites, but at the time there wasn't a request to subdivide it. It is 28 acres. Both portions could meet the 300 feet and 10 acres, but in order to cross this, which at the time, the Planning Commission also noted in the approval for home sites on either side of this that land alteration permit would likely be required. So in either case, previously it was across this area roughly where that 3306 is. The new request would be across this area to gain the actual driveway access from a different location into that little bit higher spot. As you can see by this area is all floodplain. There is limited elevation there, but there is elevation enough to build a home. It's not going to have a basement, but there are allowed at-grade homes here because they meet the minimum floodplain elevation requirements. Soil and Water has reviewed this. Their response is in your packet. The Highway Department has approved access here pending properly approved access permit. And the township has stated their approval with the suggested conditions that a stormwater pollution prevention plan be followed and erosion control devices must be installed. That's what I got. I do have drawings. They actually have submitted specific drawings too, indicating where the land alteration will be taking place and changes to topography.
All right, Mr. Gillen, do you have anything to add?
No, that he pretty much explained it of what we're doing there.
All right. Any of the board members have a question of Mr. Gillen? Seeing none, I'll take it to the public. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this issue? Ma'am? Please come on. Would you please come up to the podium and state your name and address? Scott, would you care to have a seat?
My name is Lori Otto, and I live at 5654 Dag Avenue in Delano. So I guess I'm a little unclear on exactly what's going on here, but I'm that little cutout person in there. So my concern is water flow. You know, we're going to start filling in the wetlands. Where is all this water going to go? So, I mean, is the DNR going to be involved in this? Who's going to be involved in putting this in properly?
Barry, would you care to answer that question for me? Would that
well,
be Soil and Water?
Soil and Water has wetlands, the wetlands requirement. We're not drainage experts. That's more along their line, but looking at the plans that they've submitted, there's gonna be a culvert established to prevent or to help with water flow through that area underneath where the fill will be going. The actual wetland impact, it looks like, at least from Soil and Water's response, is fairly or somewhat minimal for the most part. They do have de minimis, and they do look at these things, and it does appear that everything here has, as you can see, there's delineated wetland boundaries, and they've picked a path of least impact as far as wetlands go. So it really comes down to water flow, and the properly sized culvert should remedy any potential issues with the water flow.
So I guess I'm not even totally clear. Is this coming off County Road 14 along the pasture fence line? Is that what they're looking at coming off of? You know, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's,
I'm confused.
if you can put back on the other one there, it's coming off right in here is where it comes in. So your house is right there, and
Yep,
it's
so
coming
it's
in
further
right-
down
Yeah,
14
yeah, it's
along
right
more
about-
that
there's a
fence
big
line.
pine tree right there that
Yeah.
it would come right out there, and it comes out and it goes through the area. The two wetlands come together. They comes from the south and it comes from the north, and they don't connect right there. And there's a little bit of high ground right there, and it
Okay.
goes right through that area there. So there is no impact to the
So in-
wetland.
So, and we're talking culverts and all that to
Right,
keep the flow.
right. Culverts. Back to the greeting plan, Barry, please.
Yep. Actually, what I was gonna do is pull up this, which can be seen a little
There,
better.
Oh, okay.
there, oh, there you can see it right there.
So
See, it goes right out through here.
Okay,
Is my cursor in roughly the correct location?
Yes.
Right along in here,
Yes,
and then it bends down and then gets into the higher ground up there.
right.
okay,
Actually, turn this on.
okay. I just was a little
Yeah,
unclear
and they
where they
should,
were talking.
it'll come through right in here. The wetlands are come from the north down here, and then from the south up there, and it goes right over the top of that, or it goes in between the two wetlands. So there is no impact to the wetland. We are not doing any wetland mitigation.
Okay,
It's all being protected with erosion control, and they're protecting the wetlands to go through there for the driveway.
So there is no culvert along that, what I'll call a little high saddle there at all right now.
No, there is not.
And so if there's any flow through here, this should improve any flow through here. The only time I'm guessing that flows is when it's flooding and it's above.
Right.
And so this would actually hopefully help improve the flow through here, which that's a fairly extensive drainage area. All this wants to flow this way. And so,
Flow
in
right
times
out
of
through there then.
not flooding, this should help any flow with normal water levels.
Right.
okay. Well, of course, I'm just concerned about water levels.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. No, there is no impact to the wetland, so, so that was the important part about it, was to make sure that the wetlands were protected, and basically it was just for the shore, for the floodplain is the reason why it had to
Okay.
go in through that area.
Thank you, Mr. Galen.
Thank you.
Anything further, ma'am?
No, that's it.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to speak to this subject?
Brian Schaust, 3154 57th Street, Southeast Delano. So my property butts up to this on the southeast corner. I struggle with this being, it's a pretty good stretch through there. This is a pretty good area that can be wet. I mean, say this last summer, we had almost no rain through most of the summer. I mean, it's fine obviously then, but if you get much rain in that, putting in a driveway and a culvert, I could see being an issue. It's not only the one way along 14 the water can flow, or possibly, I think that's where the culvert would go. Is that correct? Because that way out, it don't even have a natural way to flow out that way, and really needs to flow out more to the east. And there's another home that's back to the east of that that could be affected by all of this as well.
Yeah, it can flow north, but then it can also flow
I don't,
from either side.
yeah, I don't know if it'd flow up near 14 very well. At one time, my dad pulled a plow through there. He was able to run that whole works, plow it, had corn in there, and it seems to be taking more water. It has over the years. I don't know. I have a concern over the water and just, I don't know if it's one culvert or if you'd have more than one, but two? Okay, but how about also there's two spots there where, so you're gonna go straight in along the woods on the north side, but how are you gonna get to the other spot? 'Cause that's another wet.
Mr. Gillen, could you,
Are you talking about, this is where the driveway goes, is right through here?
Yep,
Right
up to
through-
this high spot.
Yep.
But how about your other building spots
That
down
one
here?
comes in, that one comes in through here.
So
and
you're
out that way.
still gonna have two driveways.
Yes. This driveway was approved for this whole lot before.
Well, I like the idea of that may be better, but I don't know.
Well, then you can't get across the wetland to get up to this highland at all without extensive mitigation. Extensive wetland, and
So
that would
is
be,
that,
that
so
would
is
be
that
worse
what,
for your,
is that what you're finding? Is that why you can't sell it?
well, it would be extensive mitigation, it would be very expensive, and it would be mitigation, and this would probably be more deterrent from the flow doing that, trying to get a driveway across there than it would be coming across over here.
You're probably right there. I would agree.
Mr. Chair, I would ask that this discussion be
I,
handled properly.
I'm gonna allow it. I'm gonna allow it in a limited degree here, Mr.
Okay, I just wanted to state my concern. It's a pretty good sized area of wetland there.
Right.
So this
seems to
this
me
one-
that the,
Sir,
it
this
seem-
one might help you a little bit. So this is what the next request is, which is the subdivision. So the driveway for what is proposed as a northern lot would come in through here, so there'd be a house site here.
Yep.
And then this
Thank you,
lot
Scott.
would have an access coming in through here across this existing crossing with a house site someplace up in this high ground.
Well, that would be better for the water, I guess, yeah.
And it seemed to me, Mr. Schaus, too, that if there's a culvert in there, whichever way it flows, it's gonna equal out because of that culvert,
Sure.
set at the proper height.
Okay, I just wanted to, I was a little bit concerned about it.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this subject? Anyone else? Well, Mr. Gillen, would you care to approach the podium? Is there any other issues that came up in public testimony that you would like to address?
No, the only thing is that we're putting two culverts in there. We sized it, it was sized by the engineers for an 18-inch, and we put with two 12s instead to get optimum flow through there.
At
through
the
that
very
area.
same location?
At
side
the
by
same
side.
location, yes.
And that appears to be the most optimum place to put those culverts?
That is probably, yes, to protect the two wetlands,
Right,
to flow through the two wetlands.
right. Either
Yes.
way, whichever way it flows.
Exactly.
Okay, very well. Well, is there any other questions from the board here?
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the applicant.
Very well.
So I was wondering why they chose to put in two 12-inch culverts versus an 18, because typically in our township, we don't like 12-inch culverts at all because they plug so easy.
Well, they put in two 12s because of the flood elevation is 916, and we wanted the
Yep,
top
I
of the
see that.
driveway to be at that 916.4. And in order to get the clearance, we couldn't, the 18 didn't have enough gravel over the culvert to make it optimum for it. So the two 12s, we went with the two 12s instead with that. Does that make sense?
It does. They didn't talk about a box culvert at all, or not?
No, he didn't mention the box culvert. He was, no, he went with the two 12s. He felt that the two 12s would suffice compared to the 18. I understand what you're saying, but that's, at least for the flow.
I just, I have to bring it up because we just really do not like 12-inch culverts because they're hard to keep clean, really hard to keep clean. And I guess that's my comment on it. And, you know, I saw that on the plan to begin with, and that was really my reservation about it. The driveway looked good to me. I thought the plan for the driveway looked good. So.
All right. Anything else from up here? Well, then the chair would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a conditional use permit for a land alteration in accordance with the plan submitted prepared by Westland Professional Services Project Number 0034507.01 dated 1/29/2025 with the following conditions. Activity must comply with all DNR, SWCD, and wetland regulations and conditions. Erosion control measures must be in place prior to any work commencing and remain in place until vegetative cover has been established.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Smith seconds it. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just one quick thing. I just thought about this as we were reading through the motion, but since this is directly relational to the highway access, the access permit should be approved by the County Highway Department prior to work commencing.
Okay, I'll add that to
Is
it.
that acceptable? Is that acceptable?
Catch
All
up,
right.
Cheryl?
All right. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our next item on the agenda is Martin Weber.
Scott Gillen, 2518 59th Street Northeast. I'm the land surveyor representing the Webbers.
Thank you. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, since the previous matter was approved by the commission, this is the unplatted subdivision portion. As noted, the 28 acres will be divided into a 15.2816 acre parcel on the north and a 13.55 acre parcel to the south. Both parcels meet the minimum 300 feet, 10 acre requirement for the agricultural residential district. We have boring locations for both lots. And we have received that indication from the highway department that they are acceptable to another driveway location pending that approval of the access permit. I really don't have any more to add. This is the plan that would then be the result of the land alteration. Franklin Township has approved this portion as well. So we're good.
All right. Anything else to add there, Mr. Gillen?
No, I do not, sir.
All right. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this issue? No. Anyone in the public who would like to speak? All right, hearing none, we'll come right back up here again. And I'm sorry, Mr. Reinberger, where did this fall in the land use plan?
It's rural residential and has already been rezoned. So it does not require any zoning. It just requires
Okay, very
subdivision
well.
approval.
I'm sorry, my mistake. All right, anything else from up here, Mr. Ravender?
I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Very well, thank you.
Approve a conditional use permit for a two-lot unplatted subdivision in accord with the survey completed by GLS surveyors dated 12/11/2025 with the following conditions. Number one, access permit must be approved by the Wright County Highway Department prior to any construction activity or earth moving taking place. Two, all Wright County feedlot ordinance requirements and standards must be followed.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Best wishes to you and Mr. Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, so next on the agenda is RAC Enterprises of Annandale. Please state your name and address, please.
Jonathan Bioc, 6508 Nevins Avenue Northwest, Annandale, Minnesota, 55302.
Thank you. Barry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, I think I left my file on one of my staff's desks when we were going through the staff report this morning, but I'll wing it without it. Everything is laid out in the staff report, so we should be good to go. This property is 10.02 acres. It's in Southside Township on County Road 183. It's zoned general agriculture. It's considered a lot of record and was divided off prior to ordinance requirements going into effect. So it has an existing dwelling. It's pre-existing non-conforming or grandfathered in lot. It is designated as transition area in the Northwest Quadrant Land Use Plan, which is an area where the city of Annandale has identified for potential annexation. In this case, it is, not that far, but yet right across the street or right behind this property, but it's not something that is in the works for annexation at this moment, but it is planned annexation at some point within the city's land use plan. I'm not aware of the date of the city's land use plan, but it has been identified as that annexation area. This request is for an interim use permit to operate a catering business within a 720 square foot portion of an existing building. The current building doesn't have any dividers in it, but the plan is to create a separation wall designating a specific square footage of the building for the proposed use. In this case, as noted, 720 square feet. The business plan has been provided to you. This is an off-site business where all of the vast majority of the clientele are done off-site, so it's not an on-site dining or catering. Everything is conducted off-site or brought off-site with food prep at this location. So you have all of the information in their business plan. The township has approved, but they would like to do a review in 2 years. We have not received any other response. One other thing to note is that for home extended businesses, which is what this is, there is a homesteading requirement. In this case, the applicants do not live on the property, but they do own it. They do live down the street. They do have a family member that does live in the house, and so it is eligible, and we've discussed this with the assessor, for a relative homestead. It's similar to one that we've had previously where that relative homestead taking place. Technically, the ordinance does specify that for a home extended business that it's located on the homestead of the business operator, which is subject to interpretation. So what is homestead? Most of the ones that we get, it involves the people living at the house or operating the business. In this case, they are not. It is a family member, it is an employee of theirs that does live at the house, and it is a family member. So, from an administrator standpoint, subject to what the commission wants to do, I will interpret that fairly liberally to allow the commission to make that determination on whether or not they feel it qualifies for that homestead, that relative homestead. Without that, it's just a flat up denial. They can't even apply, and in this case, there is interpretation to it. So I felt it's the planning commission can take that role and determine whether or not you feel that it meets that condition.
Very well. Do any of the board members have a question of the applicant at this point in time? Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this issue? Anyone in the public? All right, we'll bring it right back up here. Now, Barry, could you give me a map or something or overhead here that would indicate, the general vicinity relative to where this is in relationship to the municipal boundaries of Annandale?
Well, actually, what's up on the screen right now does suffice. So if you look to
Could you
the
blow it up so I can
right,
get a bigger picture, a bigger area?
I can, but what I can show you is this parcel number that starts in 102, that is a City of Annandale parcel. So in Wright County,
I know, I understand all
okay,
that.
but you'd like to see that on an extended?
So you're on the west boundary of,
Southwest, yep, of Annandale. I just need to get to it, so give me just one moment. So it more or less backs up to the Southbrook Golf Course.
oh, sure. Okay. And is this in any sort of a transitional area or no?
Yes. So everything in that maroon color is in the transition area for the City of Annandale.
Okay. Mr., is it Bagulk? Is that,
Biak, but that's okay. You can call me
I'm
John.
sorry.
Call me John.
okay, John. You've been doing this for a while out of that location, or at least to some degree. I mean,
Correct.
do you have any other outside employees? I maybe missed that in the narrative.
No, we're a family-owned business. Christy and I own the business, and this is our daughter Rachel, our oldest daughter, who lives in the house, is our tenant with her family.
And she's the one with the relative homestead?
Correct.
All right. Okay, so really there's, other than maybe making some improvements on the property, you're not really going to be changing too much of the current operation. Is that my drift?
No, we wouldn't be changing anything.
Okay. Okay, very well. Traffic's not changing, none of that stuff. Okay.
No, we're a pretty small family business. So.
All righty.
And seasonal at that point.
With good food.
Well, thank you.
Right, and I have heard to you, I was going to say I've tried your ribs, but I can't swear to that I have, but.
We're good.
We can fix that.
Has to be on the up and up.
Right.
Okay, is there anything else from the commission up
I do
here? or-
have some questions, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Dan.
I guess my first question is, do you do weekend catering, so forth?
Yes, I would say, 80% of our caterings are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you know?
Okay.
Mostly on Saturdays or wedding receptions, that type of thing, where we head out to a venue, if you will.
Okay, because I just question that because in the prospective motion, it says Monday through Friday, so.
Oh,
And I wanted to make sure that if there was a motion made, that it was in line with what your catering business is, because I know that caterers do a lot of weekend stuff.
you bet, you bet. Good catch.
Mr. Chairman, just to address that, that's why that whole thing is highlighted.
I see that.
It's just giving examples of what should be placed in there.
Yep.
As staff, looking at the narrative and what they had here, there isn't anything specific for that. So that's meant to call out that discussion for the commission to establish that condition the way you want it established. In some of these requests earlier, they were very specific on when they operate, what they do. This one, there's a little bit less of that, so it's left up to the commission to maybe pull out that discussion and decide how you want to, assess that and or condition it. The same with the hours. That's why it's XX. I know caterers, and I am part of organizations that cater events, and they can get back at 11 o'clock and start unloading stuff. So I didn't want to put 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. because there again, that might not be a realistic expectation for the type of business. But that's why it's highlighted is please discuss that portion and decide how you want to condition it. If you're willing to approve, of course.
Thank you. And I understand that because we have a home extended business too, and that's definite hours on that, so.
Okay, Chair. Question, Barry, so can you let me know what's the basis of the ruling that someone needs to be homesteaded in the house? Is that so that they have a vested interest in it not turning into something? What is the primary, is that?
The answer
rule?
is yes.
Okay.
In general, if you're living there, you're less likely to run a dirty operation where you have stuff laying around. You're going to keep it more well kept. Not that there aren't exceptions to that, but if you see it every day and you're operating any type of business and others that could be your clients see that, you don't want that. And so generally what we've found and what, zoning around the country has found is that when you're living there, you tend to keep it better than if you don't. And that way too, we avoid having, residential properties rented out for business uses when there's nobody there. If you're gonna run a business from your property, we don't want residential and agricultural properties turning into business districts. And so we require that if you are going to operate a business on an agricultural property as a home extended business or whatever districts they're allowed in, you have a vested interest in that property. It doesn't turn into a commercial rental property.
Okay, thank you. So I would say, in my opinion then, because it's a family member, that works for the company, I would say that would fit. It's not, what do you think, Dan? I saw your face.
Well, I don't know if I should open up this can of worms or not, but Barry can close his ears when I talk. Just kidding. So we've had our home extended business since 2003, so it's 22 years old. We never envisioned it would go on that long. We just didn't. We just thought, well, this is a nice gig, and then it just became a part of the community. And our daughter and son-in-law became a part of it, who are also prospective heirs for the property. We still live there. I'm chief of operations for the business, still very involved with it, but they're involved with it now, and it's somewhat similar to what's going on here, but I have control over everything that happens on that property because I own it. Okay, so even whatever happens in the business, I have control over that. I have control over the hours. I have control over, who drives through our driveway because I don't want it to turn into something that's a commercial operation because we have properties around us. But when you lose that control, that's, I think, what Barry's referring to, that it's a problem. It's a real problem. Because people that just rent a property don't really care as much about their neighbors as the people living there.
Yeah.
So I'm very much in line with the way this is set up. I think it's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Well, you think, Larry, anything? Well, I'm ready to.
I would like to discuss hours of operations with
Okay.
the applicant because I need to get a feel for what's,
Yeah, that's a good.
how your business is run and how that's going to work for you.
Well, I'll start with, we generally cater either lunches or dinners, okay? And I would say that 95% of the time, it takes us about 2 hours to get ready to go out to a catering. So 9 a.m. is approximately when we get started in the morning. And we're generally done 99% of the time by 9 p.m. at night and we don't service really any areas outside of an hour from this because it just gets too much of a distance. So we're back, in a relatively quick time and cleaned up and out of there. They're long days. We don't want to be there any longer than we have to, I guess. Does that answer it? So.
Yeah, and then how many people are usually there for the preparation part of it.
Prep, it can be usually 1 to 2, maybe 3 at the most, depending on the size of the event we're getting ready for, but,
Okay. And do you do weddings too, and? Okay.
yep.
And is there a day that you don't work at all?
I can't honestly say no. I mean, but we don't work 7 days a week. And again, we're very seasonal. So most of our events or most of our business is done during warm weather events from, say, 1st of April or Easter to end of October, Halloween.
Okay,
And then the winter months are pretty slow. We're kind of like farmers.
okay.
Farmers aren't slow. Sorry.
Say, John, you mentioned your startup in the morning about 9 or so.
Approximately.
Now, on the other end, in the evening, what's typical
Typically, we're wrapped up and cleaned up by 9 p.m.
at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So typically, what is kind of the latest? What I wouldn't want to
yeah.
have is
Yep.
conditions set up and you're set up to fail because you're not done by 9. It
Right.
takes you,
Can we
takes you
do
till
it
11.
10? Yeah.
It's not up to me, it's up to you.
Yeah. Christie's whispering in my ear, never been later than 10:30, if that,
Okay.
so.
So would 10 o'clock be a good?
10 be reasonable?
I think that's very reasonable.
And then what, like every day of the week? Can we do that, Barry?
Yes.
Sure we can.
You're the ones that set the
board.
days and hours
Yeah.
of operation.
Okay. I think that
Mr.
makes
Chair,
sense.
I would like to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
When you say every day of the week, if this was a retail operation where people are coming and going all day long, that might be a different decision for me because it's of the area it's in. But because it's not that way where people are coming and going all day long, I would be okay with 7 days a week.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
And we're not going to limit it to just summer hours, are we? We can do it year round, right? Because in case they have a wedding or something on a Saturday in the winter?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you ever park your trailer across the street?
Here?
No, on 183?
No. On 183, no.
Why?
No, but we do have food.
183.
That's the county road, the old county road.
Oh, yeah. Well, at our house, is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's your home.
That's where we live.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I knew I saw
1
that
minute up
trailer
the road.
somewhere
Yep,
over
yep.
there.
We live on Lake John.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
That's how people know where we live.
All right.
Well, I'm ready to make a motion.
That sounds like good news.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve an interim use permit for a home extended business for a catering business in accordance with the discussion plans and narrative held on file with the following conditions. Days and hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. No more than one employee in addition to the owner, operator, and family members residing at the homestead. No outdoor storage is allowed, and all business-related items must be contained within the building. All business-related waste must be properly disposed of or recycled. Proper building permits for the change of use are obtained, inspections conducted, and certificate of occupancy received for the remodel of the existing building prior to the use commencing in the building. The township to review in 2 years with subsequent reviews at an interval established by the township. This permit expires upon the property's transfer except to immediate family, termination of any lease agreement, or change in business ownership or operations.
All right. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Very well. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item 3, no outdoor storage is allowed. Is this including the catering trailer?
The way it's written, yes.
Oh, we want to amend that?
You keep that outside most likely, right? Yeah, because I don't have a problem with that. I just thought that, that might be a problem for you if everything has to be in the building.
Yeah.
So
Good
should
catch.
we amend it to,
With the exception of
with the
the catering
exception.
trailer.
yeah, okay,
Yep.
I'll amend that.
And one more, Mr. Chairman, potentially, maybe a condition number 8. If the relative homestead or full homestead no longer applies, the operation must cease.
Oh, good point. Yes. Are you okay with that amendment? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Aim second.
See, we got a second. All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Best
you.
wishes?
Thank you all.
Yep.
You should get on the rotation because we have food trucks in the summer. And all the county employees love the food trucks, especially barbecue.
We'll definitely do that.
All righty. Next item on the agenda, Douglas Silas.
I'll take that one, Mr. Chairman. The applicant has not met with the township. There was apparently a misunderstanding with Rockford Township on what they wanted, and it does appear that they do have them on an upcoming meeting. And so the applicant has requested continuation to the April 10th meeting
All right.
for township review.
All right, we would require a motion for that here, board. Who would like to make that?
I'll make
Mr. Chair,
that
I'll make a
motion.
motion
I'll second it.
All right,
to continue it to the April 10th, 2025 meeting.
okay, a second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Thank you. Number 9, Brian Bleck. Brian Bleck. Please state your name, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Mike Jacobson, speaking on behalf of Brian Black.
Mike Jacobson.
Mike Jacobson, Jacobsen. Okay, this is regarding the property address of 3637 148th Street Northwest in Monticello, Minnesota.
Thank you. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that property is 10.44 acres in Silver Creek along 148th Street. This proposal is to pretty much redo the entire site. The site currently is zoned for business. It has a log cabin model home and retail space within it, all approved by previous conditional use permits, as well as a conditional use permit for a single-family dwelling. In our business districts, single-family dwellings do require their own CUP. This proposal would demo the entire site and reestablish a new use for a sales center and indoor warehousing for a watercraft dock and port business. We have plans. They've prepared preliminary building plans as well as stormwater plans. That little spot in that upper left-hand corner, that would be the stormwater pond. We have the plans for all of that, which the commission may not have received. I may not have included the specific plans for that, just because it's a technical detail that us and Soil and Water do review. There are wetlands on the site, and this plan does avoid any type of wetland impacts. We do have the structure that they're proposing, which is roughly 12,520 square feet, with a 70 by 80 storage area, 80 by 80 showroom, and 26 by 20 entry area. Warehouse would be stocked from their factory in Maple Lake by a pickup with a flatbed trailer. Business hours would be to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, and would be sales and warehousing only, and no product manufacturing would take place. We have not received a response from Silver Creek Township. It's my understanding they'll be meeting with the township at a later date. Anything you're handing the commission, I need a copy.
Yep.
Want to give that to Barry?
what he's handing out there is just a brochure of the wave armor of our products.
Ah, okay.
That's what that is. So if you haven't seen that, that's what we're making. That's what we're gonna be displaying and selling at the location.
I already got that. I got your full packet of plans.
Yeah.
I just don't have this. So I don't need those. So, Mr. Chairman, yeah, they have not been to the township. We do not have a response. No other responses have been received as part of this. Ultimately, the commission should be fairly familiar with this. This is that little cutout for the B2 property that we've been working with the big rigs that just got a CUP approval a couple of months ago. So this is the property that big rigs kind of L's around. That's all I have.
Big rigs being, let's see, on the county, intersection of County Road 8 and 94?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 148th Street is
Right, okay.
that road. Yep.
All right. Oh, sure.
I can.
Okay. Well, is there anyone up here at the board who would like to ask the applicant any questions at this time prior to going to the general public? We good? All right. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to this issue? Anyone in the public? Anyone? Okay, we'll bring it right back up to here, sir. So, what exactly would I see when I drove up to your property?
You'll see a beautiful display lot with all of our wave armor products. So we're currently 12 miles over in Maple Lake, Minnesota, where we're manufacturing all this product currently. We've got 385,000 square foot under roof in Maple Lake. And we're gonna have a display lot is what our wishes are, to have this over by the intersection over there on 94, where we can have a display lot and have the product there displayed so the clients can drive down the interstate, pull into our location, be able to walk on our product, talk to an operated sales staff right at our location and make their decisions, and then we'll direct them on to their current dealers or distributors in the local area.
I see. Now, all of these products are what I see on this picture, all of these products are what you make?
Absolutely, and then some. If anybody's ever heard of Otter Outdoors, we're also Otter Outdoors ice fishing houses, beaver tail mud boats, DOA decoys, and rhino tough tanks. Currently employing over 100 employees in Maple Lake right now, and we're not gonna transport anything over to that location other than in trucks and pickups, because we've got our major warehouse over at Maple Lake right now. So it's not gonna be massive traffic for us at all. It's just
Right.
having the product on display for the clients to see from the interstate, because we all know the interstate has a lot of traffic going down and forth every day.
So on the plan that's up right now on the far left, where is the display area? Because there's nothing on the plan that indicates outdoor display. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just, I don't see any area on that indicates that the parking spaces are parking spaces for, I would assume, the retail.
So,
end
yeah,
of it.
because we are a water product that everything floats on the water. So what you're seeing there on the upper left corner, that is actually our water display lot. That'll simulate what you're gonna have on your lakefront property.
Okay.
That's what that's gonna be. So everything is gonna be on real life. Currently, if you look at any of other dealer locations, generally speaking, all of our dealers that we have throughout the world, they're on the ground. We want people to actually step on our products while it's in a real life water application to understand how it performs in their application. So that's what that is, a holding pond display lot in that upper left-hand corner.
And that won't interfere with the wetland adjacent to it?
No, it will not.
So, Mr. Chair, for the other request for Big Rig, there was quite a bit of discussion on 148th Street as to what's
Correct.
gonna
A
happen.
lot of
I
traffic
was gonna
issues.
say, and we've not heard from the township?
No,
He hasn't-
they haven't met with the township yet.
because I would like to hear what's gonna happen with 148th Street, because there was talks of closing it at maybe in the future,
Yeah, right
and
beyond
a
us.
turnaround for Big Rig at one point, so.
There's been a lot of controversy here.
My understanding is Big Rig's no longer on the docket. Are they still moving forward out there?
I cannot comment on speculation.
Okay.
As of right now, they have an approved interim use permit to operate.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Good. We're not Big Rigs. We're not hauling big equipment trucks or anything like that out there. We're not doing any of that type of product whatsoever. I can't speak to Big Rigs. I don't know what they're after at all.
Well, regardless of whatever is happening with Big Rigs, the point here is that I think you better meet with the township, because they might have some different plans for the configuration of, was it 148, 148?
148th?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so, now, in light of that, again, we as a board like to hear what the township has to say about these proposals, so I guess the chair would, in that case, entertain a motion that we continue this until next month, April 10th meeting, to determine if we can find out from the township what their position is on this. So I would at this point entertain that motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I guess some discussion is for the applicant on the 148th Street, that it was brought up that, it didn't want commercial traffic going into the residential area. So that was, and when you meet with the township, that's something I think would be pertinent for you to bring up to them.
Understood. Thank you for that bringing to my attention. But our direction is we're not gonna go in the residential area at all where we're at. All of our traffic will be going down to our building and then backing back out or not backing out, turning around and going right back out the same way we came in. Yeah, I know that area quite well, and I know it's narrow roads and everything down by the lakefront, and that's not what our intent is whatsoever.
Very good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. I'll see you on April 10th.
Thanks, Mr.
In
Chairman.
the meantime, we'll meet with the township.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Now, number 10, Bruce Shute. Bruce Shute.
Scott.
Hello, I'm Dan Free. I'm here on behalf of Bruce Scott. Should I give you my address? Is that what I get?
Whatever.
214 Jerry Leaford Drive, Monticello.
Did I pronounce his last name incorrectly?
Yeah, it's Scott.
Scott. Sorry. Barry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this property is roughly 225 acres that encompasses two PIDs and is located along Baker Avenue Northwest and 72nd Street in Maple Lake Township. The proposal is to rezone a portion of the parcels involved. It was recently through a Board of Adjustment hearing to allow a lot line adjustment. And so I've highlighted in red that portion, which is part of the rezoning request. The yellow is a more extended boundary of the property, which actually can be seen here in the land use plan information. So this parcel is acreage that was here, and then there was another roughly 160 acre parcel here, or just less than 160 acres. The Board of Adjustment hearing allowed the property to be split using Baker Avenue, attaching this portion to what's to the west, and then also allowed this portion in red to be divided out as its own separate parcel. This request would rezone just that portion that's within red from general agriculture to agricultural residential. The remaining portion in yellow here would remain zoned agricultural. This would be the resulting unplatted subdivision. If rezoning gets approved, this would then be the request for the unplatted subdivision after that rezoning is heard by the county board. the township has approved. I really don't have a whole lot else. It's like I say, it's in the plan. There has been a number of rezonings in this area. If the board remembers, we had a rezoning on Ames Avenue that just recently went through, and you can see those in the lower right. So these 4 lots plus these 3 lots were part of that most recent rezoning. These rezonings were a little bit prior to that. And the same with these. These were in the early 2000s. That's what I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Does anyone here at the board have any questions to the gentleman?
I do have one question.
Yes.
If he can answer. That portion, let's see, that would be to the west, right, Barry? That square that looks, what is it, 264200, 264,200.
This one here?
Yep,
Or the whole thing, or just this
just
portion?
that parcel there.
Yep.
Baker Avenue goes all the way through there, apparently?
Yes.
So there's enough access to get into that property?
That's part of what the Board of Adjustment heard, was ensuring that what is being left in agriculture had the minimum 300 feet of road frontage. That 80 acres plus does have a residential entitlement. So since it has an entitlement, we required that they meet the minimum frontage requirement for that remainder parcel, and it does have that. The Board of Adjustment reviewed that as part of their approval.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we went through the lot line adjustment, because all the road frontage went with the parcel to the east at one time.
Yep.
It followed the section line, so that now we're creating 3 parcels now, they all have, road frontage.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions from up here? All right, is there anyone out in the audience who would care to speak to this issue? Sir?
Good evening. I'm Marty Chard at 7224 Baker Avenue Northwest. I really don't have an issue with the rezone. I know there's really not much we can do about it, to be honest. It meets the comp plan. It honestly could probably be 20 lots if they had a way to make it work. I guess my biggest concern is I'm the property right to the south of the T intersection. Right there, correct. That's highlighted. And this past winter, I had 6 cars in my field coming down that hill. And I've lived there for almost 25 years. I've had school buses, I've had garbage trucks, I've had everything in my field. If you want to come out and visit, I probably still have bumpers laying in my field. And now to put more houses out there, like I said, there's nothing we can really do about it. I have kids, they have to live somewhere. But I guess the time is now to fix the road. It's very steep. You can see that the contours going up that hill where there's going to be 2 proposed driveways coming out on that steep hill. It's not safe right now, to be honest. And this, like you mentioned before, there was 9 lots approved last year. There were 4 more lots on Ames that were approved before that, and now another 10. So we're gonna have 20 lots that are gonna be in this 2-mile stretch of road added in the last 3 years. And the demographic of the people buying these lots have large families. They all have multiple cars. And the traffic that we have seen over the last 25 years that come through this cut through, because this connects 106 to 37, is unbelievable at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a train. And like I said, I know there's nothing I can do about the rezone, and I frankly don't care. I'm more concerned about that road getting fixed. It hasn't been upgraded in 70 years. And now we're just keep on adding more and more traffic to it. And they all end up in my yard. So I'm concerned about that more than anything. And it now is the time to fix the road, or to table this until the township addresses the safety issue of the road. And when that road was put in, so I live in Vocady Estates, that plat, and when that road was put in, the road was never made a T road. It was just blended in to a curve that was there. And so it's not a true perpendicular T road like it should be. And so that's why the traffic comes through there so fast, and that's why they all end up in my yard. And if it was corrected 25 years ago, the problem wouldn't be as bad because they would have to come to a complete stop. But now, because of the slope on that hill and the way that the intersection was never fixed, it's a disaster. So before we add another 10 lots, another 50 cars, I'm wondering if this county can address it with the township. And that's where it should be stopped now instead of just adding more and more issues. You know, this is the planning part of the planning that isn't happening. So
Being a township resident out there, have you yourself approached the township officials?
I have addressed it, but you know, like I said, I wish we don't forget the notifications at the township level, and that's the part of it that I'm mad. We've all been talking about this for, you know, we brought this up last March when we were here for the rezone or the easement on that other piece of property, but I've addressed it with we've had the cops out there 3 times already this winter with these accidents. I mean, 2 of these accidents were total losses on the vehicles. And I've addressed it with the township, I've addressed it with the county, and I mean, like I said, there's sheriff's reports on the damage. So it's an issue, and nothing's getting done, so, except more and more houses and another $1 million house, so.
Did you go vote yesterday?
No.
Okay. Township elections.
Oh, I wish I would have ran.
Beside the point.
Yeah. But that's my concern.
Okay, very well.
Mr. Chair,
Point well taken.
I have a question for the.
Yeah.
Are you talking about coming down Baker Road, you're talking about, so
Correct.
getting into that sharp curve?
Right
going-
there. Yep, exactly.
okay.
Yeah, you can see how it was never fixed to be perpendicular like it should be. And actually, the township did come out and try and fix it last year, where they did put up some stakes to try and get some of the ditch to come back. But what should have been done back then is it should have been squared off.
Is there a stop sign on Baker Road?
No, it's backwards too. So there's actually a yield sign. So that's actually the traffic comes down that hill and goes to the east, right there, and that's the through traffic. And there's actually a yield sign right in my field on the new road right there. Yep, there's a yield sign right there.
Okay.
Which is backwards too.
Thank you.
Yep. So I did a lot of civil engineering in my life, so I've got some knowledge on how this stuff works, and there's a lot of mistakes here that need to be fixed.
Just the guy to run for the
I
township
agree.
board.
Now that my kids are older, I can do it. Too much softball.
All right, Michael Locke, 9297 65th Street, Northeast Albertville. I have the property on the east side. And I just wanted to talk about the same concern with traffic. I know all the neighbors in the area. I've lived there on the north side and then bought the property on the east for my whole life. So I've seen the school bus go off the road on 72nd and Aladdin on the other corner by Black Lake there. I actually did see some people off that road this winter. They were kids, and they looked like they were probably maybe driving too fast. There was like 3 or 4 of them trying to help pull one of their buddies out in the car. In the neighborhood, a lot of people come off Eagle Lake, the Volkedy Estates. I actually have been in his house when it was the Volkedys that lived there. They added on, they put in, let's say 15 units. I think the road needs a speed limit, like a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. That's probably the concern, is just how fast people come through there. Some people walk, that kind of a thing. I think with the Scott property getting houses or driveways added, there will be more people out there. It's within the master plan. I think the bigger issue is maybe the township doing something with speed limits. I don't know how you could ever change that road with all the property that comes up to it. And that property was already modified when the Volkedy Estates was put in, because they bought land from the Scott property to make that access. It's just a very old road. But I think 25-mile-an-hour speed limit would change all those issues with how fast people are going through there. It also would probably help with traffic significantly, simply because people shoot from Eagle Lake south towards Buffalo, and they shoot through there all the time. So if the speed limit was slower, they might say, hey, we'll hit County Road 11, shoot down on the tar, and get over to Buffalo. It might limit the advantage of flying through that area. But I think it's, a speed limit issue more than anything, because I don't know how that road change would be significant.
So talk to your township officials.
Yes, yeah. I don't have a traffic concern in the area. I would say a speed limit concern is the only thing I would say, so.
Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mr.
Yep.
Locke. All right. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Brad Lukes. I live at the corner of Baker and 106. And I'm just going to repeat what they're saying. My wife only parked in your yard once, Marty. But I've had cars in my ditch in my yard too, and it's a flat part of the road. And I'm starting to be concerned now that the maintenance on the road isn't keeping up because we're getting more and more traffic on that road all the time. So at the end of my driveway now, people are accelerating from 106 to go down. It's just pothole all in a row, a whole bunch of them. And I know the townships, you know, trying to maintain roads, but I don't think they're able to be there often enough anymore. So I'll keep it short, but I just wanted to add my 2 cents.
Yeah, I guess what I would have to say in response is our concern is the volume of traffic, not necessarily the condition of the roads or the speed limit.
Yeah.
So we'll have to take that in their advisement when we're deliberating this.
So is there like a rule of thumb for how many cars a day before you say this needs to be asphalt or this
I have
needs
no
to be-"
clue.
Okay.
Maybe
This-
Mr.
this
Ravender,
road's
the
under the
township
township's road authority, so the-
supervisor, could advise us on that.
It's a township issue.
This is completely under the supervisors of the township.
Discretion?
When it comes to speed limits, it's very strict when you can put a different speed limit on, because it has to pass a density test with the state of Minnesota. State of Minnesota governs the speed on rural roads.
Yep, there's state statutes that allow speed limits, and it's very hard to get it under 30.
It's very hard.
To get it down to 35, you gotta have so many driveways within so many feet. And it's almost impossible to get that on a rural,
Yep.
like a 10-acre parcel.
It's just about not rural anymore.
I know, but I mean, you know, with 10-acre parcels, it's very difficult to get that
Their
footage.
houses aren't close enough together.
Right.
No.
Well, there we go. I learned
Thank you.
something too. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Larry.
Been there, I know all about it.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue? All right. We'll bring it back up here. What would be the wishes of the board?
Blake Township approved the request.
Yep.
What do you want to do?
Mr. Chair, we went through this on the last, when we dealt with that other parcel there. It was the same issues. I remember that very well. The same issues with the road. The rezoning request, I don't have a problem with that, because these other issues we can deal with, traffic issues we can deal with, driveway approaches and so forth, where the driveways are placed.
Right. Now, this isn't, correct me if I'm wrong, this is in the vicinity where they had that peregrine falcon thing up on, nest up on the post. Is this that area where they had the steep hill?
Yep.
Steep hill coming up from the south?
Yeah, if you
Going up.
speak, you got to go up to the podium.
Yeah, just around when you turned on the 72nd.
Yeah,
there
my
was
my
smoke.
property is right there, so it's 70, and Bruce's property is right there. So when you come on Ames and you hit the T at 72nd, that's where they, Hennepin, was it right? Hennepin put a post there, and that's where the bird is.
Okay, now
Yep.
I'm familiar with it,
Yep.
okay.
If you go to left, there's,
Right.
yeah.
And if you go south on Baker, that you run into a very steep hill again.
Yeah, there's steep
Okay.
hills everywhere. I drive the tractors through there with loads, and it's
Sure.
steep everywhere, yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Bravender, you were saying, weren't you saying something?
Well, I will say something now, that I think it's good for us to continue this to April 10th for a site inspection, since we're already going out anyway, so.
And to do what?
To do a site inspection.
Very
Yeah,
well.
I'd be up for that.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion to do a site inspection and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. We will be doing a site inspection somewhere between now and April 10th.
Thank you.
If anyone who wishes to know when and where that is, you can call the office tomorrow. And sir, you had a question?
No, thank you.
Oh, very well. Thank you for all those who gave us input. All right, is there anything else that we need to do other than the next agenda item? Would you care to take a short break, anyone, or continue? Plow through.
Where do we at? We only got a couple more. Let's keep
Well, we've
going
got a
away.
couple gravel pit situations.
I'm good, doesn't matter.
Everyone good? Okay, well, let's proceed to the next agenda item. Theodore Solberg.
My name is Theodore Solberg, 876 30th Street, Southwest Buffalo.
Thank you, sir. Barry?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this property is just east of County Road 12, about 3 miles south of Buffalo and just south of the Crow River. The request is for an expansion of the mining operation by about 12 acres and approximately 260,000 cubic yards of material. It's requested for a 10-year time period, which is in conformance with the mining ordinance. So here's most recent aerial for 2023 and also an aerial from previously showing an extent. So this is an existing operation. There was a CUP in 2018 for the 4-acre phase that you see in the 2023 photo, which is primarily completed and its reclamation has started. The applicant has done really well at reclaiming as he goes with the different phases of the operation that he does have. And we have some plans that have been prepared, including the upper left, which is the current operation. The upper right is the proposed operation, and then the lower or mid, kind of in the middle and on the bottom, that would be the reclamation plan. So the reclamation plan is to turn it back into agricultural production. We have received approval from the township, and we have not, do not have any other comments. It should be noted too that there is a berm proposed, as you can see in that mining operation, along the boundary of County Road 12. They are proposing a berm in that location, stockpiling of current topsoil and putting it in that location.
All right, well, Mr. Solberg, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, other than we're sharing a driveway with the state. I'll use the same driveway as I did for the other 50 acres that's restored. And I talked to the highway department, and they wanted me to do anything else with the road, and they're gonna rebuild the road, County 12, this year, from Montrose all just about to Buffalo. They need 90,000 yards of sand. So I don't know how long it'll last.
All right.
I just got to take sand out of the 25 feet towards my buildings, be 0. It tapers off, so their yardage is off, and so is their acreage.
Now, Barry, the proposed additional mining there occurs up in the, where? Just
Towards my buildings, right there.
Basically from kind of this area right here.
Yeah. No, that's the 20 acres I bought.
Oh, okay, so you're kind of going
Part of
across.
this is already permanent, but I haven't taken sand out of it yet because Letfin owned it and I restored it. I bought 20 acres, but it was full of holes and brush, and that's the only sand that was on there. And when I went for a permit, they said to go ahead and take it because I needed money to restore it. I restored it about half a year. I spent filling the holes in, cutting the brush off the 20 acres that Lethman had. But there was no sand on there because he already took it out.
All right.
Something out by the highway, a little bit low.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, is there any questions from the board to Mr. Solberg, the applicant? If none, is there anyone out in the audience who would care to speak to this issue? Anyone out there? All right, we'll bring it right back up here then, I guess. What would the board like to do?
Sounds pretty cut and dry, doesn't it?
I know the area very well. I don't need to see it.
No, I don't either.
Matter of fact, Mr. Solberg cut logs for me many, many years ago.
I've been around a while.
And the township approved with no
Yes.
no other, they just said yes, okay. Well, I'd be ready to make a motion.
I would entertain that, yes.
Okay, make a motion to approve an interim use permit for an expansion of the existing mining operation to include 12 acres and approximately 260,000 cubic yards of aggregate material, and in accordance with the plans prepared by Otto Associates project number 250107 dated 2/12/25, and description provided by the applicant with the following conditions. All performance standards for mining in the Wright County Code of Ordinance must be followed, especially regarding dust control, hours of operation, reclamation, annual reporting, and financial guarantee and screening. Every effort should be made to reclaim previous phases before entering new phases while leaving enough of the pit open for operations. Any change in access or expansion of operations will require a new interim use permit. The applicant shall provide a performance bond, cash escrow, or irrevocable letter of credit from a reliable surety institution in the amount of $60,000 to guarantee compliance with the mining and extraction portion of the Wright County Code of Ordinance. Unless a new interim use permit is approved, this permit will expire 10 years from the date of this approval, and the operation will have to be completed and reclaimed by that time. This permit shall immediately and automatically expire upon transfer, termination of any lease agreement, or any change in business operations or ownership.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Now, Mr. Chair, do we have hours of operation on here anywhere?
Hours of operation are stated in the ordinance as 7 a.m.
Well,
to
it's
7
according to the
p.m.,
ordinance.
Monday
Okay.
through Saturday.
Got it. Good enough for me.
Okay,
Just one second, Mr. Chairman. So I think, generally speaking with, the interim use permits, we do have automatically expire upon transfer, those types of things. I think in this case, I would want maybe one exception, and that would be a transfer to the property owner's spouse.
Oh,
Okay, that's acceptable.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
I would just hate to see if something were to happen to you, sir, and your property goes to your wife,
Yeah, I'll be 90 this year, so.
that she then needs to come in to apply for a new permit.
oh,
The way it's stated is any transfer. And we've had this before in a couple of situations where we've done this, so I just would like that to be an exception.
I like that exception. I'll amend my motion to accept that. You okay with
As
that
well,
amendment?
yeah, in the second.
Okay. Okay, motion made second.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Best wishes, Mr. Solberg.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You betcha.
Thank you. Good luck. You want 5? You have to go to the bathroom?
Chairman would entertain a 5-minute chairman's break.
Okay.
45 is.
Right.
Are we all back? I guess we are.
That's all that's here.
Yeah.
Where'd everyone
So
go?
weird.
Something I did? Something I say?
Okay.
All right. Next item.
Number
is
12, Mr. Chairman.
Number 12, Valley Paving.
John Olkosh with Valley Paving, address 6930 Lancaster Way Northeast, Albertville, Minnesota, 55301. Wokasch.
All right, Barry?
Well, Mr. Chairman, this property is really familiar to the commission. We were out there for a site inspection when the pit was expanded to the western parcel, that western 80 acres, which was approved by this commission after EAW was submitted. This request is for a temporary asphalt plant to be operated within that existing portion of the pit, which they're still mining in. I'm not going to get into the history of this. I mean, there's a lot of files and a lot of different things happening here, and the commission is well aware of it. The township in this case had approved it for 3 years, but for temporary asphalt plants, the limitation is 2 years. The notification that went out said 1 year, matching what is in the narrative, but the ordinance does allow up to 2 years for temporary asphalt plants. So the township has approved with 3 years, which actually can't be approved by the commission. It's limited to 2. We didn't receive any other comments on this particular request, and looking at the audience, I don't know if the Garvins are willing to comment, but we don't have anybody in the public, so I'll turn it over to you guys. What do you want to do with it?
You have anything to add to that?
No, 2 years is fine. I believe our last permit was 3 years, but then with the new ordinance that got put in, I know that switched. I just, suggested longer than 1 year instead of repetitively coming back every single year for the same permit. I guess, I'm fine with 2 years too, so.
Okay, any questions for the gentleman from the board? No. Okay, is anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this issue? Anyone in the audience? Hearing none, we'll bring it right back up here. What's the board's pleasure?
I'm prepared to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Very well, Mr.
Very well
Raymond.
aware of this place,
let
so.
ya.
To approve an interim use permit for the asphalt plant for the 25-26 season with the following conditions. Number one would be the 25-26 season. Number two, the hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays. Number three would be as required in zoning ordinance, the plant must utilize odor control technology or additives to reduce the odors emitted from the plant. Number four, the plant must operate in compliance with all applicable state and federal requirements.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
Who would like it?
Doesn't matter.
We'll give it to Larry.
Larry wants it. Or it was given Larry by Commissioner Holland. All right, we have a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion or any discussion on
Yeah,
it?
just one more piece, Mr. Chairman. With the hours and days of operation, it should be noted that by the mining ordinance, operation shall be prohibited on county designated holidays as designated as of January 1, 2023. So the motion says 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Doesn't accept out holidays, but the ordinance itself does.
It's federal holidays, correct?
It's county designated holidays as of January 1, 2023 is what's actually in the ordinance. So I just wanted to make it clear on the record that, yes, it's Monday through Friday and 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays, but there is the exception of the holidays.
And that includes Juneteenth.
It does not.
Is that
That
because
is-
of the 23? That's what I thought, okay.
You
Okay,
need to update the ordinance.
no.
So what do we want to do? As it is?
Yeah. What? The
I
condition?
would just say, except for holidays as noted in chapter 155.100 of the Wright County Code of Ordinances.
Is that the simplest way of doing it?
Probably.
Okay. We good with that? All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? None? It passes.
Thank you.
Best wishes. All right. Last item, Dunick Incorporated.
Good evening. I'm Jason Bistig with Dunick.
Yeah. All right, Barry? Am I going too fast for you?
Repeat of last item. The board has been out here. It's an existing operation where they're looking just for the extension of their mining, their asphalt plant for the 25 and 26 seasons, with hours of operation, as noted, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Again, similar thing, I think, in this case with that same thing, it would be, the motion is written very much the same, but we would need to accept out the holidays as per 155.100. Let me go back here. So the township, actually, I didn't change that, but the township has approved of this one. I'm pretty sure I got that sitting in here. I wonder if this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. We did have a mix-up in our notice, but the township has approved of their request. Comments were 25, 26 season, operations Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the original notice included an expansion, which was not included in this. There was a little bit of a mix-up in our notices, and we corrected it, but that was after our notice to the township had already went out. No other comments?
All right. Would you care to expand on anything?
Just one question. I haven't had a chance to review the proposed conditions.
Yep.
Is the odor control one of our conditions in this one as well, or?
Well, yeah, because it must be in compliance with the ordinance.
With the ordinance, and that ordinance
requires it. A lot of times we restate ordinance stuff.
Sure.
Scott in my office, he's kind of our pit guy. He wrote the motions. Yeah. As required in zoning ordinance, plant must utilize odor control technology or additives to reduce the odor emitted from the plant.
Okay, and that's a new provision in your ordinance?
That was included as part of our ordinance amendment that we did in 22, 23? Early 23, late 22, early 23.
Yeah,
One of the
I guess
first
if
things I did.
that's your standard, it's.
Yep.
So.
Standard lingo.
Yeah, and the other conditions, so I'll just read them for you since you'd asked about the conditions. Plant must operate in compliance with all applicable state and federal requirements, which obviously you have those anyways. You're gonna get dinged if you don't. And same hours of operation, as had been noted earlier. Those are the only three conditions.
Okay. Appreciate it. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to
Very
to
good.
offer, so.
Do we have any questions of the gentleman? Anyone from the audience care to speak on this issue? Anyone from the audience? Hearing none, I'll bring it right back up here, folks. What would be the board's pleasure?
I say let's go forward with it. I'll make a motion to approve an interim use permit for the placement of a hot mix asphalt plant for the 25, 26 seasons in accordance with the plan submitted and the description provided by the applicant on the record with the following conditions. Any operation of the plant outside the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. will require a separate interim use permit. As required in the zoning ordinance, the plant must utilize odor control technology or additives to reduce the odors emitted from the plant, and the plant must operate in compliance with all applicable state and federal requirements. Do we have to add the holidays?
Well, there again, those are ordinance requirements. You don't necessarily have to. The previous motion had them in there, so I thought it's best to add them. Because that's how it was written and stated. But it is ordinance requirement. It's Monday through Saturday, and it's except on those county designated holidays,
Okay,
which are similar to federal holidays. Exceptions are, okay, they can actually operate on Columbus Day, because Columbus Day isn't a designated county holiday. We swapped that out for something else.
oh, you're right, yeah.
And then because of the date listed, it does not include Juneteenth.
Okay,
But all the other normal federal holidays are part of it.
okay. Okay, I make the motion,
All right, did we have a second?
I'll second it.
thank you.
Okay.
No, as long as they know. I mean, it's under the ordinance.
It's covered in the gravel pit ordinance. So
Barry said we didn't need to.
keep it simple. Thank you. All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Mr. Chair, you're a little too fast there.
I had the little note here.
Our last motion had the hours of operation 7 AM to 7 PM, Monday through Friday, and Saturday, 7 AM to 5 PM.
That's what was in the narrative from the applicant. So the two applicants are requesting just slightly different timeframes.
Yeah, I think we should add that into into this motion. 7 AM to 7 PM, Monday through Friday, and 7 AM to 5 PM, Monday through, or Saturday only,
Oh,
okay?
okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Yep, I'm good.
Are you okay with that?
I think we can live with that.
You're sitting there back thinking, damn it, I should have put it at 7 o'clock.
That's what I've had the whole time, so that's what we say.
Are you okay with that amendment? Okay, we're okay with that amendment.
Okay.
Now we can go forward.
All right. All those in favor of the amended motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None? All right, we passed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, we do have those two petitioned items.
Yes.
So what we're looking at is, let me go to where I wrote it down. We're looking for a motion to approve the final plat of Hart Place Pond and authorize the chairman's signature.
Is there such a motion on the floor here? Would you care to entertain one?
What
I
is,
don't know if I should. I wasn't involved in that
what
one
is
in the
Hart?
beginning.
What is,
Hart Place Pond is the division of the Winstead Gun Club property.
oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
2-lot R1 subdivision.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's Hart Place Pond.
Yep.
And what do they want?
It's the final plat. So the plat process it's almost run itself to conclusion. The chairman of the planning commission has to sign it, and then it'll go on to the county board Tuesday for the county board signature. But it can't go on to that without the chairman's signature. And we've already been in discussion with the chairman, and he will be coming in tomorrow, hopefully, to sign it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair motion. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I've signed him in his absence, you know.
Yeah, and I don't know how, with the plat signatures, I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's acting chair or the assigned chair. I don't know which. I had thought about that, but I
Vice
don't
chair.
know. And so we're playing it cautious. Because
if he's
the
willing to
problem
come
is
in.
they're Mylars, so if you sign it, it's not like you can't remove the name.
Right,
So we're just playing it from a cautious
And a new
standpoint.
Mylar.
yeah.
It's like,
It's like,
it's a plastic vellum.
it is
Yeah.
plastic.
And it's permanent.
Call the question, Mr. Chair?
Yep.
What, do you want to get out of here? You're the one doing all the talking tonight. I'm going to throw it right back at you. All right. We have a motion. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I made the motion. We have a second, right?
For Mole to come in and sign the plat?
For us to go forward with it,
Yep.
yes.
Okay, very well. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes. Oh, change it up. Okay, and then we have a second one. Similar, the motion would be to approve the final plat of Shellquist Edition and a authorized chairman's signature.
And which one is that?
The Shellquist Edition is the one on the Mississippi, east of Monticello.
Oh,
We site inspected that one. I picked you up the golf
Remember
course.
that real steep,
yep, that was a
steep,
nice one.
steep
Yeah.
slope?
Yeah, I'll second that. You
Who made the motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I second it.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passed.
Now, Mr. Chairman, we have to schedule a site inspection for the properties of, I gotta get back to it, for the Bruce Scott rezoning and the Garvin Farms commercial egg tourism. Neither of them are actually very far, so it's not, travel time is gonna be fairly minimal. I know we're not at a full board, but we need to set it, so we're just gonna have to make the decision, and who can make it, and who can't.
I'll throw out some dates.
There, whoop, I got it.
And the planning is the 10th, so it would have to be before then.
Yes.
How about Monday the 7th? $8:39.
April 7th?
Yeah.
Board, what's that one there? I got something there, hang on. Yep, that's okay, that's evening, okay.
April 7th,
What time do you want to meet here?
8:30 at the courthouse here.
Sure.
That'd be 8:45 at Garvin Farms, and I'll have to figure out the time for the second one.
Okay,
All right, April 7th, 8:30 here.
perfect. You did it.
Despite a few individuals.
We're done. Okay.
Yeah, that was all good. Thank you.
No, we haven't gotten a motion to adjourn
You
yet.
better adjourn before it's 9 o'clock.
Yes, you.
I'm not going to do that.
You're not
You
gonna
can
adjourn.
declare it, we don't need a motion according to Robert's rule, but.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn is second?
Yep.
Okay, and then Mo keeps reminding me, we don't have discussions on that, so we are adjourned.
Okay, perfect.